Record for the man regarded by many as the strongest welterweight in the world. Remember those numbers. You'll see them again later tonight when we put up the record for the great Roy Jones Jr. Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Madison Square Garden, where tonight Square Ring Incorporated presents a World Championship boxing doubleheader brought to you in association with your undisputed, undefeated king of beers, Budweiser. This Bud's for you. This first contest is co-promoted with AB Stars Productions of Paris, France, and Main Events, and sanctioned by the New York State Athletic Commission, Chairman, former two-time world heavyweight champion Floyd Patterson. Also sanctioned by the World Boxing Association, WBA President Gilberto Mendoza, WBA Supervisor at ringside, Bolivar Icasa. The three judges assigned to this bout scoring the contest on a 10-point must system will be Jose Lorino, Luis Rivera, and Gonzalo Riveras. And when the bell rings, the man in charge of the action, Hall of Fame referee Arthur Mercanti Sr. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 12 rounds of boxing for the WBA Welterweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing red and gold and weighing 147 pounds, bringing an outstanding professional record to the ring of 39 victories, with 25 victories by knockout against only one defeat. Ladies and gentlemen, from Detroit, Michigan, here is the WBA #1 ranked welterweight in the world, the challenger, Oba, the Motor City Carr. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing blue and white, and also weighing 147 pounds, and also bringing an excellent professional record to the ring. In fact, a perfect one of 32 victories without a loss, including 28 by knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, from Accra, Ghana, Africa, presenting the undefeated WBA welterweight champion of the world, Ike Bazooka Quartey.
Let's go outside. Everybody has to go out. Hey, Alfie, give me the bucket. Look, have it. Yeah.
All right, good evening, gentlemen. You both know the rules of the WBA. You've been instructed earlier in the afternoon. Shake hands now. Good luck to both of you. Return to your corners. Thank you.
This not only can be an outstanding fight, it will also give us a measure of Quartey, because Oba Carr gave Felix Trinidad probably his hardest fight, Trinidad stopping him in the 8th round.
Oba Carr, a strong fighter, almost certainly a superior technician to Quartey's last American opponent,
Stay in your corner.
Vincent Phillips. But Phillips, a hard hitter.
Arthur
McCanty, slug it out.
This is Arthur McCanty's 124th championship fight, one of the most famous referees in the world.
I think we're going to see the key to this fight very, very early. Oba Carr said that he's been working with Mike McCallum, and he's finally learned how to throw a good stiff jab. He says he thinks he can out-jab Ike Quartey. If he can hold his own with that jab, it's going to be a very, very tough fight. But again, Quartey has that strong left jab.
And Quartey expects to dominate his opponents with the jab, Gil. So if Carr can indeed hold his own, it might get into Quartey's head a little bit.
Well, again, Quartey's jab sets up everything else, too, because once he starts hurting you with that jab, he can feint it and really land those big power punches.
Both fighters working all almost exclusively with the jab in the first round. You just saw Quartey bring a hook off the jab, and now an overhand right. So far, Oba Carr boxing within a carefully controlled style. Carr unleashes the right hand, partially blocked by Quartey.
Am I mistaken, Gil, or is there already some red under Oba Carr's eyes?
Well, Quartey did land a couple of good stiff left jabs in that exchange when they exchanged jabs, and he's going to mark you up. That's the way Joe Louis. Every time Joe Louis hit a guy with a jab, he had a mark on him.
Overhand right by Carr as they moved apart at center ring, and Quartey kind of grinned at him as if to say, oh, you want to fight fiercely, do you?
And again, Quartey does have a swelling under his right eye. Not Quartey, excuse me, Carr has a swelling under his right eye.
The spot where Quartey sticks the jab. Mentioned the challenge that Vincent Phillips gave to Quartey. He threw 120 punches in the second round against Quartey. I mean, literally unloaded the kitchen sink against him, and Quartey kind of shrugged it off and eventually blew him away.
And the reason he did that, Jim and Gil, is because the book on Quartey was that he won't punch while you're punching. He'll wait till you're finished. And Phillips thought that that offense would be his best defense.
Well, Oba Carr had him scouted pretty well. He said the object of this is to throw your combinations, hit him, but don't stand and wait for the receipt. Get out of there after you hit him. But up to this point, Quartey's putting pressure on him, moving behind that good, strong left jab.
Had a good, quick, short right hand inside.
It's remarkable to watch and see that Quartey has the strength so often to bust his jab right through Carr's guard. Carr will have both gloves up, ready to block it, and Oba Carr finds his gloves split by the powerful jab of Quartey. Round one comes to a close. And when we go to Quartey's corner, our translator translating the Ghanan tribal Ga language is Fred Asifo.
Yeah, drink some water. Yeah, drink some water. Okay. Stick to your jabs, okay? Yeah, don't drop your guard. And throw some body punches. It's very important. Okay? Throw some very good body punches. Okay? Don't drop your guard. It's very important. And you have to time your punches, okay? It's very, very important.
Fight smart.
Second down.
Okay? Move that head, all right? Watch it come out strong, all right?
Get that water, man. Right there.
Don't go straight to him and step off the back.
Stay there.
Well, if you subscribe to punch stat numbers from our friends at CompuBox, then Carr needs to be more accurate with his jab. Quartey threw 51 in the first round and landed half of them. Carr threw 50 jabs of his own, but only landed 7.
The one thing about Quartey, he comes in a straight line. Really doesn't bob and weave too much. He should be pretty easy to nail every once in a while, but he keeps his hands high, and when he does throw that jab, he doesn't leave himself wide open.
Quartey building up the punch count early here in round 2 as he becomes even more the aggressor than was the case in the first. Carr slowing down his punch outfit just a little bit, perhaps having tasted that jab too many times already. Now here comes Oba.
One of the things I've noticed, Gil, is the difference between Carr fighting Quartey and Carr fighting Trinidad is that Carr had more time to think about Trinidad. Trinidad came in at him, but not in such an imposing, almost overwhelming fashion.
Right. Quartey comes at you like a steamroller. It's just so difficult. It's a wonder that he doesn't get nailed once in a while, as he did with that left jab just then, because he really is almost a stationary fighter. He comes in a straight line at all times.
Pretty good stretch there for Carr as he landed a right hand and then followed up with a couple of solid jabs. But now Quartey begins to reestablish his initiative. Arthur Mercanti stepping in between them.
Arthur Mercanti does such a good job every time he goes in there. I was always very confident when I had a guy fighting and he was a referee because he does a good job.
Confident that you'd get a clean fight.
That's all I'm looking for, a guy that doesn't make mistakes.
Low blow by Carr. Mercanti warns him. Carr with a tendency to fire low blows. He was guilty of the same transgression against Trinidad and against Errol Coley. Carr's got power. He put Trinidad on the canvas. You followed the career of the spectacular Puerto Rican welterweight. You know that he has been subject occasionally to the early knockdown, as was the case for De La Hoya earlier in his career.
Well, Oba Carr is not really known as a one-punch knocker-outer, if there's such a word in the English language.
He just invented it.
He has to really put them together for him to hurt you.
That's true of most fighters, of course. It's true of Quartey as well, although what's fearsome about Quartey is his ability to put all those punches together in rapid flurries.
But when nothing else is happening, scoring points with that left jab.
Sit down. Listen. You're boxing them good, okay? You're boxing them real relaxed, all right? Your jab done got strong in that round, okay? Breathe deeper. You're real relaxed now, okay? Keep jabbing like you're jabbing, buddy. Just keep stepping like you're stepping over here and stepping over, all right? You ain't got to load up on the punches, all right? You need to run them combinations.
I want you to get into the stomach area. Okay? Follow him at all times. Don't give him any breathing space. Follow him wherever he goes. Follow him. Stick to the body punches. It's very, very important. See, you're not giving him too many body punches. Okay, make sure you give him the body punches.
Out of the ring.
Okay, throw some more jabs.
Oba Carr, like the great Muhammad Ali, first took up boxing as a very young boy, and he had a bicycle taken away from him by a bigger boy, and he went to his dad and said, "I'd like to learn how to fight." His dad had done some boxing in the Marines, and he got started over right away. Carr going to the body there, and back to the body with the right hand.
Keep him up. Don't move straight back over. Don't give it nothing. All right, break. Come back. Don't hit the break.
Good combination there by Carr, but again, Arthur McCanty talks to him about low blows.
Carr is throwing that right hand to the body and trying to come back with that left hook. You can see the difference in strength in the two fighters, though, when they do get close. Quartey is by far the stronger individual. Again, you see him coming in the straight line, but he's got those hands up. He's making Carr work all the time.
He's very adept at picking off punches with his gloves. He has been allowing some of those right hands to the body to land, though, and that could work for Carr over a long period of time.
But it's much easier to go forward than to go backward there, Jim. If Carr continues to go backward, he's going to get tired as the fight goes on. Nice combination by Carr. And you see Quartey right back on top of him again. His plan is to just wear him down.
Quartey backing Carr up and slamming the left hook to the head.
And what started those combinations for Quartey was the fact that Carr tried to fight him. He loves that when you try to fight him. He comes right back and puts you in your place. Lets you know he's the boss. And again, you see him using his strength on the inside.
And remembering to go to the body. His corner asked for that between rounds, but he hasn't been doing that much of it. Crowd loved the Carr combination, but Quartey blocking two of the punches with his gloves. Quartey makes it awfully tough for you to land upstairs, Gil.
Yeah, but he is landing effectively. He is trying to do what he said he would, which is to wait for Quartey to stop punching and then go with a combination and get out. I think this is a very good round for Carr. If he can follow this plan, he's got a shot.
Yep, and it all started with those right hands to the body that changed the tempo of the bout just slightly early in that round.
I gave a slight edge to Carr in that round, but he had to work so hard to earn that round. He backed up through his combinations, but again, Quartey's strategy is to beat him up and wear him out.
When you get close to him, don't stand right in front of him, okay? When you get close to him, just get down, all right? Don't let him get a shot at you like that, okay? Sometimes you stay right in front of him for too long. As soon as you hit him, you have to duck. You have to do that at all times. And don't forget, don't drop your guard. It's very important.
You know, he's hitting below the belt a few times. So tell him to watch.
Oba means king in some African dialect, and here you see a royal combination, 3 punches. One did get cleanly through. That one.
Oba Carr has gone 10 rounds or more 10 different times in his career. A lot of experience in long bouts. And that's probably going to cost him a point. Ultimate gentleman Mercanti, no point deduction so far.
Not up to this point.
Apparently just a warning.
Well, that surprises me because it was a punch that really hurt Quartey, and it could have an effect on the fight.
Surprises me too. Maybe a small break for Carr. Let's see if he's able to take advantage of it in some way.
All right, Harold Letterman, how did you have the first 3 rounds?
Larry, 3-0, 30-27, Ike Quartey. But I want to talk about that stoppage there. Arthur McCanty made a crucial mistake. He never stopped the clock. He let Ike Quartey take a rest and killed 1 minute of the 4th round.
I didn't think it landed a minute.
Almost a minute.
But I have it 2 rounds to 1 for Quartey.
And Carr was wobbled a little bit by that short left hook. Didn't look like much of a punch, but the leg shook.
And now he takes a point away from Quartey for holding Carr behind the head. So no deduction for Carr for the low blow, but a point deducted from Quartey for holding Carr behind the head. All of that here in round 4.
Shouldn't that require some kind of a warning as well?
Absolutely. I've very seldom seen a fight where a guy gets penalized a point the first time that he grabs a guy behind the head. I remember when Ali fought Frazier, the Thriller in Manila, he must have held Joe Frazier behind the head 50 times, and Padilla just kept warning him, but never took a point away. Here, the first time, and a point is taken away. That surprises me, too.
Well, it seems particularly unusual in light of the fact that Carr got 2 separate warnings for low blows. They trade shots at close range. That mouse under Oba Carr's left eye is getting progressively larger with each passing round. And Quartey is starting to open his hands up a little bit and accept more punishment in return for the chance to deal more out.
You're right, Jim. He's starting to brawl. He doesn't want to just stand there and let Carr dictate what Carr wants to do. He wants to impose his strength more. Let's see if he can.
Cut your jab off, okay? And don't be rolling no right hand. Keep boxing, okay? Don't start to slug it, okay? Now, he started coming faster than you started doing. Moving your feet a little faster. That's all. You listen to me, son?
Round 5.
Listen, don't start to grinding with this guy like you started doing, okay? And shoulder rolling right hands and all that. Forget that, okay?
Keep boxing him over.
Keep boxing like he's doing. Keep moving. Just
Stay low now. Come on, don't try to punch this guy.
Yeah, real relaxed.
There you see the left by Quartey. Now, where was the hold? I'm looking for the hold in here. That's an unbelievable penalty for doing that. A harmless, well, nothing happened out of that, Gil.
Actually, Carr put his head underneath Quartey's arm. Good right hand by Carr.
Round 5 of a bout in which Oba Carr has been true to his word that he would be aggressive, that he would try to get off first against Ike Quartey, that he would try to move away from the counters and avoid damage. But despite all that, Harold Letterman still sees Quartey winning the fight, and Carr has a mouse growing under his left eye.
And he's starting to fight with his mouth open, which is a sign that he could be getting tired.
Quartey still sticking that telephone pole jab.
It's like a 2x4 coming out a window and hitting you right in the mouth.
It has to be disconcerting to a boxer like Oba Carr to go in against a strong guy who could jab with him or maybe even better than he can.
Well, Carr thought that he could out-jab Quartey, and from what I've seen in the fight so far, Quartey is winning the battle of the jabs as well as winning the fight.
Well, if you landed jab for jab with Quartey, it would still be unlikely you could match his power in that department.
Again, Carr caught Quartey with a right hand coming in, didn't move him one bit.
That was the Vincent Phillips experience.
And he just got hurt, Carr did, by a left jab on the nose.
Pushing!
Quartey sticking to his business, continuing to go forward against Oba Carr. You saw the right hand to the body. Carr often back on his heels now. Difficult to apply power to your punches when you're going backward the way Oba Carr is forced to do.
Quartey's looking for the big bomb now. And he gets nailed with a good straight right hand.
Hard right hand shot by Carr. Well done.
That combination was blocked. Again, a low blow by Carr.
This is just a matter of physical strength, Gil.
That's exactly right, and that's the way Quartey analyzed this fight before the fight. He said, I'm going to out-strengthen. He said he's not strong.
Hard right hand over the top by Quartey. Punctuates round 5. In case you've just joined us, we're live in Madison Square Gardens Theater, where you're watching a World Welterweight Championship fight between unbeaten champion Ike Quartey and Oba Carr. Still to come, Roy Jones Jr., world super middleweight champion, regarded by many as the best pound-for-pound fighter in the sport, subject of a panel discussion at the beginning of our telecast, where he answered questions about his choice of opponents and the ways in which he defends his unofficial honor as maybe the best fighter in the sport. And now, less than an hour later, he'll be in the ring to battle against a tough opponent in Bryant Brannon. Replay, Larry.
As a Carr from Detroit, Oba Carr is a big Indianapolis racing fan, but there you see the difficulty against a big, strong guy who lands that big right hand of getting into the front row with the other 3 great welterweights in the world right now, Whitaker and Trinidad joining Quartey.
Through 5 rounds, punch stat numbers have Quartey landing almost half of his more than 200 jabs. Carr has also thrown more than 200 jabs, but his connect percentage is down at about 20%. But give Carr credit for courage. He's still stepping in from time to time against the artillery of Ghana's Ike Quartey.
But Quartey's jab is becoming more effective in each round. He's really starting to nail Carr with some good stiff.
Oh, he caught him flush with an uppercut there, Gil. And Oba Carr, who was hurt by that right hand at the end of round 5, slightly staggered by that uppercut as well.
Just got nailed with a chopping right hand. Left hook by Quartey. Now we're starting to see the complete arsenal of Ike Quartey. There's a good solid left hook to the body.
Who had the greatest jab you ever saw in the welterweight and middleweight divisions, Gil?
Well, I'm prejudiced. I had Emil Griffith, and he wasn't a tall guy, but he out-jabbed just about everybody he ever fought. And he used to really bust them up with it. Similar to what Quartey is doing right at the moment.
Quartey opening up with both hands, and he's got Carr in trouble right now.
Well, Carr's fighting back, though. You know, you can't get over confident in there because you can always get nailed yourself. And Quartey that time walked in wide open.
Yeah, Quartey has a weakness. I would call it his arrogance in the ring. He just doesn't believe anybody can hurt him.
That's correct, and so far nobody has been able to hurt him. He takes some good shots. Doesn't bother him a bit.
But if he lets a Trinidad or a De La Hoya have free reign to take a shot like that, he might sing a different tune.
Well, the thing is, the key with Quartey, if anybody can ever make him back up for a round, it would change things. But he's the guy that's always on the offensive at all times. Here he comes right at you all the time. Right back on you. You have to fight 3 minutes of every round when you're fighting Ike Quartey.
Exhausting battle so far for both fighters. A lot of action through close to 6 rounds. Quartey looks much the fresher of the two as we come down the stretch in stanza number 6.
And again, he made Carr throw a 4-punch combination, none of which landed. But it was tough work for Oba Carr. And you can see his mouth wide open now, Carr.
Crowd oohing and eyeing with a lot of these right hands that Quartey has landed in the 6th. It's been a big round for the star from Ghana.
Blood coming from Oba Carr's mouth. Exhaustion starting to show in his face.
And let's take a look at scores from today's Major League Baseball playoff games, both in the American League. 9-4 victory for the Cleveland Indians over the Orioles. Game-breaking grand slam home run there by Albert Bell. And the Yankee game in the top half of the 9th inning. Yankees have runners on 1st and 3rd, no outs as they go against the Texas Rangers and try to get even at 2 apiece. Rangers looking to take the edge in the series.
Okay, it's easy. And don't play with your relax. Get that jab up there, Oba. You need to win this round with the jab, but we need this round bad. You're going to take the round off, we're going to win it with the jab, okay?
Round 7, seconds out.
You got to learn to be smart and follow instructions.
In the corner, they told Oba Carr to try to win the next round with the jab. In other words, don't work so hard. But I know when I train fighters, I never, ever told my guys to try to coast around to get a second win. You have to be able to go the full distance in top shape all the time.
And from what I see of Carr, Gil, he doesn't look like he has the temperament to do that. He is a fighter. He is not a pure boxer who is just going to stay away from you.
All right, but in the meanwhile, yes, I see the exact same thing. He's got guts, he throws combinations, but his corner is trying to take him away from his own style. They're trying to tell him to jab for a round, try to make it a light round, not a heavy round.
Why isn't that a smart tactic, given the fact that he just can't muscle up with Quartey?
Yeah, but you can't do that with Ike Quartey. He's right in front of you all the time. You can't disappear in there. You have to be in front of the guy. He's making Carr work here. Carr is throwing some nice punches now and landing, but in the meanwhile, the guy's back for more and giving it to you all the time back.
Give Carr all the credit in the world for bravery. He is working to try to impose his will on Quartey and regain the initiative in the fight in a round right after a 3-minute period in which Quartey landed 48 of 74 punches against him, most of them power shots. Carr able to stay on his feet there.
Again, it goes to show you the courage that Carr had. I mean, he let it all hang out with that punch that he missed and fell down. That's why he fell down. It was such a hard punch. Again, I say that's why he's going to be dangerous. You can't just get overconfident and walk in.
And Gil, in addition to all of his other qualities, Quartey has a heck of a chin. Guys pound him and he just looks at him.
I've never seen a better chin in my life. I've seen him in other fights, the same thing. He gets hit a good solid shot. He seems to be happy when he gets nailed because it wakes him up. Then he comes back and really punishes you some more.
Then he hits a little left hook inside and it backs Carr up 5 feet.
Come back.
That's how strong he is, Jim. Very, very strong guy.
It's like fighting a welterweight wall.
Here's a nice combination by Carr. But again, his punches are like counter punches when they land on Ike Quartey.
Carr beginning to lose a bit of his balance and footwork here in the 7th round. Wobbly because he's tired or wobbly because he's woozy?
Tired, Jim. He's tired. Maybe woozy too.
Quartey's cornerman can't understand why Mercanti doesn't deduct any points from Carr for low blows.
Don't worry about a low blow. Okay, drink some water. Drink as much water as possible. Okay, you've got to keep up the pressure. Okay. Now I don't want you to stand in full standing position when you throw your punches. Okay, it gives him a chance to punch back.
This round, watch a few.
Yeah, this
round before.
I think you're a little late in this round.
Carr keeps trying to come down the highway, but he misses with that one and gets punished in return. No bad deed will go unpunished.
Seventh round was a bit of a breather for both fighters, both of them throwing their lowest number of punches per round in the fight. Harold Letterman, how do you have it scored through 7?
Jim, 69-63, 6 rounds Quartey, 1 round Carr, 1 round even. I tell you the honest to God's truth, Ike is walking away with it, and I'll tell you why. A judge looks at effective aggressiveness, and that's what this is all about. Ike Quartey is the aggressor the entire fight, and as he comes forward, he's extremely effective, scoring constantly. And in round 5, when Carr's eye started to swell, Ike Quartey found he could just drop that right-hand lead on him all the time.
We're into the 8th. Typically spectacular performance so far by Quartey. Exceptionally brave performance. Resolute work by Oba Carr, doing the best he can.
And that's pretty good, Jim, but just not good enough when you're fighting an Ike Quartey. Oba Carr showed me a lot in this fight. Those nice combinations, borderline, a few borderline left hooks to the body, but again, Quartey just stays right in front of him, makes him work every second of every round. Here he comes again.
Throwing bombs. I mean, these are bombs, Gil. Let's see what Mercanti's going to rule here. Was it a slip? Oh, that was a solid right-hand cross.
Starting to beat him up pretty good now, Jim.
Yeah, Carr's having trouble defending himself now.
This is the round. This is the round that Trinidad stopped Carr. The 8th.
Again, you see the courage that Carr has. He's still in there. He's still winging punches, trying, but he's just in with a guy that's too big, too strong, and too talented.
Now, this is a great show of bravery by Carr, which is in itself yet another mark of the greatness of Quartey.
Talk about a guy fighting his heart out. That's what Carr is doing right now. He's really fighting his heart out, trying everything he can.
Deserves all the credit in the world for his willingness to stand in against Quartey's howitzers. Body punching again effective for Carr, and again another low blow, and finally Mercanti is going to deduct a point.
I think Carr is cleared for any rest now, even if they take a point. Give me another rest to take another point.
Well, I think Mercanti deducted a point. I'm not sure. I didn't see him look around at all the judges, but yes, I get the confirmation.
And I scored that a 10-7 round for Quartey because I thought he won the round by such a wide margin and landed so many heavy blows.
Well, I could not disagree with that, Arthur. I scored a 10-8, but could very well have been a 10-7 round.
He gave it to him. That point, he one point ahead of us now, son. We got to come out the hole now.
Take a deep breath, Take a deep breath now.
We got to get down now, baby.
Come on, son. Come on, Oba. You got to fight out. Come on.
Deep breath, man. You want the title?
Come on.
You got to bite down now.
Come on.
You got to bite down. Fight this son of a bitch off for you. All right? Use your jab. Look, move your hand like this here and let them hands go, okay? Bow, 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 bow. Then move, okay?
He's trying to stay close to you. Anytime he comes that close, throw a hard one into his stomach. Okay, it's very important. That's going to weaken him. Okay, get in there and let him know that you're the champ.
Nobody but Oba Carr knows just how much of himself that he's given in this effort.
Quartey relatively unmarked through 8 rounds. Oba Carr's face showing the necessary damage.
There was bleeding from Quartey's mouth at the end of the last round.
And I noticed for the first time that Quartey was mouthed open a little bit, gasping for breath, so he's not as fresh as a daisy either. Again, you can see how hard that Oba Carr is trying. He's trying to stay into this fight, doing the best he can.
And Carr's trainer, Stacy McKinley, painting a little bit rosier picture of the proceedings than perhaps the objective observer would offer to Carr. Probably a good idea, Gil, as he tries to keep his fighter motivated and mentally in the fight.
Well, yes, because, again, Quartey has been imposing his will. The famous Costamato was saying he's been imposing his will on Oba Carr, and I guess Stacy is trying to get Carr a little confidence back. You can see Carr, he's not holding anything back with these punches. He's not afraid to get counted, but he just can't do it. He's in with a guy that's too tough, too strong.
Yeah, and it is an amazing tribute to Carr because most fighters who have gone through this for this many rounds would in very subtle ways start to hold back their punches for fear of getting punched back.
Absolutely.
And he's letting them go.
Absolutely. Letting it all hang out. Again, another low blow. May have been by both fighters that time. You know when Quartey leads with that right uppercut from the outside, he's wide open for a left hook. Again, another low blow by Oba Carr.
Quartey not too bothered by low blows now.
Well, they told him not to.
Yeah, that's right. They told him to ignore it. Takes instructions pretty well, huh?
Yeah, right. Ignore that right hand to the chin.
Gil, it's about this time we should start talking about the fact that Quartey is so strong, and the other top fighters in this division are so unlikely to give him a shot soon. Will he have to move up to junior middleweight and even middleweight? And from your experience, does he have the strength to do that?
Absolutely. He has the strength. He's a very, very strong fighter. And again, it's strange. The 3 guys, Felix Trinidad, Pernell Whitaker, and Oscar De La Hoya, are not really physically strong fighters. None of the 3. They all have skills, but none of them are really physically strong the way Quartey is.
It's interesting, both Trinidad and De La Hoya have great punching power, but you're right, not the kind of physical strength that could allow them to move Quartey around the ring the way he moves his opponents.
That's absolute. That's again why I say I would, in my opinion, I would make him favored over any of the 3.
And still to come, junior middleweight championship fight. There's the challenger. Bryant Brannon. Interesting personal story of a young man who had a rocky road early in life, wound up in New Jersey's Rahway State Prison. He says he got both religion and boxing while he's in prison. He lives a clean, dedicated life. He's a terrific athlete. He's got a great opportunity in front of him tonight as he meets Roy Jones Jr., the unbeaten 168-pound champ.
Okay? You hear me? Okay. Get your hands busy. See, when you're standing in front of him like this here, step right back to him. Bang, 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 okay? Okay?
Come on, baby.
And you know you have to do this
Bite
now.
down.
You got to press him now.
Come on, man.
You got to press him.
You done work with harder guys than this.
You're going to stand in front of him. You're going to use your head.
What should you tell a fighter in Carr's position at this stage of such a hard fight, Gil?
Well, his corner man is trying to get the best out of him. About the best you can do now, if you really be honest with the fighter, is say, hey, there's a good right hand on the chin by Carr. You're going to have to be honest and say, look, it looks to me like you're going to have to really win these last 3 rounds big.
9 rounds. How do you see it, Harold?
Larry, 8 rounds, Ike Quartey, 1 round even. I mean, I made a mistake before. I didn't give Oba Carr a round yet. I think Ike Quartey is just absolutely walking through him with that jab. Still, I keep scoring it for effective aggressiveness and clean punching. And I just want to throw in one thing. You guys are making matches like crazy. I'd like to see Ike Quartey and Frankie Randall. I think that would be great.
Again, another low blow by Oba Carr. I don't know what's going on here. I've counted about 5 or 6 low blows.
So there's another point deduction. And that increases yet again the chance that Carr would need a knockout to win the fight.
Well, that may be the way to get the knockout.
Yeah. I have this fight 7-1-1 with a 3-point round for Quartey.
Larry, I hate to say it, but again, I agree with you. I have it 7-1-1.
Oba Carr with only 1 knockout in his career past the 6th round. This is the 11th time in his career that he's been as far as 10 rounds in a fight. Only the 4th trip to the championship rounds for Quartey, who normally disposes of his opponents earlier than this.
Good left hook to the body by Quartey. Good right hand on the chin by Carr. Right on the button. But nothing happened.
Did it bother Quartey?
Nothing happened.
Scary. I mean, the guy is totally scary some of the time. You can see part of the predicament for Carr as his eyes close. It's harder and harder to fend off Quartey's power shots.
He's trying so hard, Oba Carr. You have to
tremendous effort.
Give him credit for a great effort. He really is tired now, Jim. I think next round is going to be a tough round.
You called me Harold?
Well, you're a fight expert. That's why I called you Harold.
Thank you, Gil.
Next round is going to be very, very tough for Oba Carr. He's just about at the end of the rope right now.
Well, and his left eye is almost completely shut. You think his vision is impaired out of the left eye now, Gil?
Well, if your eye is closed, your vision's impaired.
Makes all the sense in the world. Another hard right-hand shot in close for Carr. Landed flush, and Quartey grins again.
I don't know if Carr earned that round, but I'm going to give it to him anyway.
You're a nice guy.
I don't want you to leap, okay? You wait too long to use your right. Raise up your jabs. Hit the chest and the chin. He can't duck those, okay? Don't give him any confidence.
You know what, they're trying to get him arrested, and that's not right.
No, okay, listen. Over. Take it straight to him. Okay? You got to fight down. 2 more rounds, you're the world champion. But you got to win these rounds big, Oba.
You got to fight down.
Because they took 2 points from you.
You can win it.
You want the title?
Digging down deep, Carr throws his right hand early in the round that landed just a little bit high to put any real hurt on Quartey.
But at the same time, Quartey countered with a right hand to the body.
From what you see, does Quartey have the kind of shocking power that Trinidad has?
No, not with one punch, no. Trinidad is probably the best one-punch guy in the welterweight division right now, but Quartey, with the accumulation and the fact that he puts that pressure on you, makes him really the most dangerous guy in the division. Well, again, for the first time, Quartey backs up. And in Carr's corner, that's what they told him to do. They said, go out and carry it to him. Let's see if he can do it.
What about the possibility, Gil, that Pernell Whitaker's southpaw style would neutralize Quartey's jab and befuddle him?
You know, Pernell Whitaker is a very, very slick guy. He's very, very tough to hit. But again, Quartey really knows how to put that pressure on you. And I think that his jab would get through even with the Pernell Whitaker.
Because he would keep walking to Whitaker regardless of what Whitaker
all
did.
The time, right. But again, he is backing up. Carr is backing him up for the first time in the fight. And again, we mentioned that's the only way that you can really be effective against an Ike Quartey, if you can back him up.
Well, this is how brave Oba Carr is, despite the difficulty he finds himself in. It is a knockdown. It is a knockdown. Arthur McCanny ruling this a knockdown, and Quartey can't believe it.
I didn't see a knockdown punch. I'd like to see a replay.
Neither did I.
I think we will see a replay.
I thought he hit him in the back.
I think McCanny wasn't certain whether to call it a knockdown, but the count had begun from the official timekeeper, and Arthur just decided to go with it.
That's the second time the timekeeper has started to count before he was signaled by the referee that it was a knockdown.
And Carr unleashing some of his biggest shots of the fight. He's having a big 11th round now.
Well, exactly the opposite of the way I thought this round would be.
Well, Carr is by far the more experienced fighter at going the distance. We told you, 11 times into the championship rounds now, only 4 for Quartey. So maybe Carr is building up some steam here in the closing rounds against a possibly tiring Ike Quartey.
Well, again, we had mentioned early in the round, it was the first time we saw Quartey back up.
Quartey still effectively slipping punches there, as Oba tried to unload something hard. You're going to get a look back at what was ruled a knockdown of Quartey here as soon as the round is over.
Carr's best round of the fight, knockdown or no knockdown.
Knockdown or slip? What was it? That ain't no knockdown.
No, that was a foul blow. Besides not being a knockdown, it was a foul blow. They should have
hit her. It was a right to the spine.
That was a very bad call by a great referee.
The bell ring, go straight to him with the jab and throw a combination like he's doing, okay? He stepped back, you step to him, okay? And you'll win this title, okay? Okay? You want it over? Oh, you win this round big, you'll win this fight. You hear me?
This is the last round. Let it all hang out. I want you to put some more power in your punches. Okay, put some more power in your punches.
Carr has had 2 breaks from Arthur McCanty. A point deducted for a mysterious reason from Quarry early in the fight. And now an official knockdown, which he has to get credit for in the score, on what was not really a knockdown.
Well, McCanty's done 124 championship bouts. He's entitled to have an off night, I guess.
Well, you know, we have the fight one-sided for Quartey, but we do not know how the judges have it scored. So this could be a big, that knockdown could be a significant factor in this fight.
Could well be. They're often closer on the judges' scorecards than we think they are. That's not unusual at all.
And again, remember, another point was lost by the low blow, so you don't know.
And the official knockdown ruled against Quartey in the last round marks the first time in his career that he is ruled to have been knocked down. Now, of course, Quartey and his people are going to say afterward, wait a minute, that was no knockdown, but nevertheless, it's scored that way, and it's a first.
A very sharp right hand Quartey landed on Oba Carr's jaw.
And another right hand by Quartey, and that, for the moment, slows the Carr rally.
A good left hook by Quartey again.
You know, Quartey is very strong, as we've been saying, but I don't think he has real power.
No, he's a good, powerful puncher. You know, sometimes it's the catchy.
You're right. It might be difficult, if impossible, to knock this Carr down for any welterweight.
Even if he's hit by another car.
Or in this case, a 16-wheeler.
Baseball now over for the evening. Stick with us for the conclusion of this one and the upcoming super middleweight championship bout for Roy Jones. Yankees came back to beat the Rangers. They take a 2-1 lead in that series. Final score in the game, New York by Texas 2. Go ahead.
Good right hand by Quartey.
Carr holding on now in the last minute of the fight. It's been a grueling battle, especially for Carr, against the relentlessness of Ike Quartey.
Well, to his credit, Carr, he's still there and he's still firing.
But he's hanging on. He's lost this round. Any chance I think that Carr had has gone away by losing this 12th round.
He's losing it pretty big, too. But again, we're not the judges.
Longest fight of Ike Quartey's career. He went 11 rounds to knock out Crisanto España and win his welterweight championship. Now, for the first time ever, Quartey's been stretched to 12 rounds. A brave effort by Oba Carr. Another strong, dominant performance, at least in our eyes, by Ike Quartey.
Hold your hands up! Hold your hands up! Hold your hands up! Hold your hands up! Hey, that's right! Hey, just knock him out! That's right! You said you were going to knock him out back! You couldn't!
Crocodile, the official cheerleader in the Oba Carr camp, is the man in the sunglasses in there yelling, you said you were going to knock him out. You said you were going to knock him out. So if they take their satisfaction from that, then they may walk away with a measure of vindication. Harold Letterman, how'd you score it?
Jim, 9-2, 1 even, 116, 109, Ike Quartey. I want to tell you, what a game-gutty performance by Oba Carr in rounds 10 and 11. This was a thoroughly beaten fighter who came back like gangbusters and gave us a great fight those last 3 rounds. I mean, super. He was super. I never thought he was going to survive, let alone give us a performance like that rounds 10 and 11.
And if I was managing Ike Quartey, right now I'd be worried. I'd be on pins and needles waiting for the officials to make it Quartey the winner, because
no question, Quartey's from
things
Ghana.
Can happen.
Yeah, he's from Ghana. The other guy is an American fighter. You have to worry about that in a situation like this. Harold, question about your scorecard. You didn't think that little slip in the 11th was a real knockdown,
Jim,
did you?
let me tell you something. The judges don't look at replays. So you get a knockdown like that, you hardly see the punch. If the referee calls it a knockdown, you have to go with the referee.
Bingo.
The judges don't have a monitor. Boy, I wish I had a monitor every fight I judge. I wish I had you yelling, hey, it was a slip, you know?
You wish you had punched that
exactly.
numbers too, huh?
I mean, you just don't have it. So.
You're right, Harold. The referee calls it a knockdown. You have to score it a knockdown.
Exactly.
In the background there, you see Floyd Patterson, chairman of the New York State Athletic Commission, and of course, former 2-time heavyweight champion of the world. And let's go up to Michael Buffer for the official decision.
Nice fight, gentlemen. Very good. Oh, good fight. Great fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the scorecards. Gonzalo Rivera scores the bout 112 to 112. He has it even. Luis Rivera scores about 116 to 109. And Jose Lorino scores it 117 to 107 for the winner by majority decision. And still, the undefeated WBA welterweight champion of the world, Ike Bazooka Quartey.
Fascinating scoring from one judge who saw Oba Carr winning 4 of the first 7 rounds against Ike Quartey. The other 2 judges' scorecards more in line with those of our Harold Letterman. Total punches, as you see, Quartey landing 139 more blows than Carr, throwing 29 more, and landing at a higher percentage rate, 50%. That's blistering punching by Ike Quartey. Jabs, and you can see that Quartey was also dominant there. They threw about the same number, but Quartey landed 82 more than did Oba Carr, and each one of those 82 jabs hurt. Well, let's go to Larry Merchant with the champion, Ike Quartey.
All right, congratulations, Ike. First, on the knockdown, officially the first knockdown of your career. What happened in your opinion?
Well, first of all, I want to thank God for making me this victory. And I want to thank my trainers, my managers, my sparring partners for making me this victory. But I don't think the knockdown is a knockdown, you know, because he hit my back.
He hit you in the back, as you saw it, and that's what our replay showed.
Yeah.
How tough was he? Because despite how hard you were continually hitting him, he kept coming at you.
Well, I was trying to work him out, I was trying to wear him out, but he was moving, you know. And the referee came and, he came and sprayed from me because he was hitting me below, and the referee didn't want him.
If you can't get a fight with any of the other top welterweights, like Pernell Whitaker or Felix Trinidad, have you considered moving up to junior middleweight or middleweight?
Well, we're still working on welterweight. We haven't planned to go to welterweight. We are planning to fight the welterweight Trinidad or Whitaker, you know.
But if they won't fight you, will you fight middleweights?
Yeah, we'll go to welterweight for 10 hours, or we'll fight the contenders, you know.
So you will fight you'll fight anybody out there.
Well, if we can, we fight the contenders, or we'll move on to welterweight to fight 10 hours.
Thank you very, very much. Great fight.
Thank you too. I like to thank all my people, you know, in Ghana. I like to thank, all Ghanaians for coming here to support me, you know, on my fans in Ghana. I thank them all.
And Jim, you can hear some of his countrymen who live here in New York City chanting in the background. Back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Larry. And Gil, let's take a look at the final scorecards here for a moment so we can underline this one scoring discrepancy that I think made the ultimate majority decision interesting. You see there, Rivera of Puerto Rico and Larino of Uruguay both scoring for Quartey by significant margins, but the judge from Venezuela, again, had Oba Carr winning 4 of the first 7 rounds and wound up scoring the fight even. Obviously, he likes bravery.
It has to be something like that. If he was watching the same fight I was watching, there's no way he could give Oba Carr those early rounds.
You said at the beginning of the evening that you would make Ike Quartey the favorite against Pernell Whitaker or Felix Trinidad or Oscar De La Hoya, any of the other 3 glamour welterweights or near welterweights in the world. You still stick to that?
Absolutely. Again, he has that physical strength. Strangely enough, none of the 3 guys that's on top, they all have a lot of skill, but none of them are really physically strong.
All right, let's turn our attention now to the second main event of the evening. If you've been with us all night long, you know that we started with the live panel discussion with Roy Jones about his status as the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world in the eyes of many, one of the 2 best in the eyes of those who still treasure Pernell Whitaker and his greatness and put him up near the top of that list or at the top of the list. When you talk about Jones, he says in interviews that he thinks his only weakness as a fighter, Gil, is that he lacks a mean streak. Doesn't really have a powerful desire to hurt his opponents in there. You see that?
That's not the same thing that I've seen in his fights, Jim. He's one of the best finishers I've ever seen in boxing. He's a real mean guy.